If I had $1 for every started but unfinished project, I'd be a millionaire. What about you? Would you be a millionaire? Have you ever heard that done is better than perfect? Well, have you ever heard of it or thought of it this way? 90% done equals 0% done. Let's think of it that way. 90% done is equal to 0% done. Actually, sometimes starting and getting 90% done on a project is worse than even starting it in the first place. Why is that the case? Well, now we've spent that time, energy, money on starting something that we haven't finished. Now it's something that started in our headspace and taking up space in our mental load of something that we've started but not finished. It might be taking up space on our countertop. And it might also be taking up money and just missed opportunity or frustration in our thought process. So why even start things in the first place? No, but really, getting back to why we're here talking about how to finish what we first start, let's first talk about some limiting beliefs. So 2 limiting beliefs of why we sometimes don't finish what we start is because, number 1, we believe that we must be perfect in everything we do. And so we don't want to finish it because we don't think it's perfect. And number 2 is we're worried about what others might think of our finished work. And we might also think that we're only worth what we finish and what we accomplish. And our worth is based on our actions and doings. So these might be limiting beliefs that I might have, that you might have, about why we might start things but never finish things. So today, let's look at 5 techniques that are tried and true and shown to help you finish what you start out to do. So to keep us interested and keep us focused, and so that this YouTube video is just not another video and activity that we start and not finish, I'm going to use my toddler's counting cards to help us out. So let's dive right in. Number 1, we need to evaluate our beliefs and our self-talk. Usually what we say about ourselves and how we think things about ourselves is the reality we walk into and we live in. So instead of saying, I never finish things, or, oh my gosh, I start so many things but don't finish them, let's change that mindset and let's change that verbiage to, I finish projects I start. I am known for completing tasks. I follow through on my word. So let's write one of those down on a Post-it note and post it on your mirror or in your bathroom or on your computer. And ideally say it out loud to yourself every day in the mirror with confidence until you believe that I finish what I start. Sometimes our headspace and how we see things and believe things is actually one of the biggest barriers of holding us back from actually starting, acting on, or finishing a task. Number 2 is we have too many options, optionality. If we have so many options, we often get paralyzed or overload, analysis paralysis, and we don't move forward, or we don't want to move forward. We have brain fog, or we get stuck, we get overwhelmed, we shut down. We have too many options these days in life. So really try to limit your options to what is appropriate and realistic for your task at hand. We don't need to evaluate every option to accomplish most things in life. Let's pick a few, go with one, and run from there. So keep borders and boundaries on, and kind of like headlights. So we really want to keep blinders on so that we have a better idea of what are a few options, but just looking at those options and not every option so we can actually follow through and do something. There was a study that showed in a supermarket, if you were given 6 samples of a jam or anything on an aisle, you were more likely to try and buy one of those options if it was 6 options versus like 20 plus options. Too many options, overload, shut down, confusion. And so let's eliminate that so we can get done what we say we want to get done. Number 3 is finishing as a skill set we can actually practice and refine and get better at. Just like I want to exercise 4 mornings a week, that's something I'm working up and working towards. Another thing I could work towards is finishing what I start. A lot of times we just say, oh, I'm overwhelmed, or oh, I start too many things, I don't follow through. But if it's actually a skill set we're working on that we want to change and get better at and build up that finishing muscle, it can just be another thing that we're adding to our to-do list and to our plate, that this is what I'm setting out to do. I'm setting out to run or exercise 4 times a week, and I'm setting out to finish and accomplish what I do. Once I start accomplishing more things, I get to check more things off, which is exciting for ADHDers. Also, we love the dopamine hit and the dopamine rush. But also, the more things we can finish, it builds up that momentum and that excitement and that muscle, memory muscle, of continuing those things. So the more we accomplish now and finish and follow through on dictates that we're actually going to finish and accomplish more things down the road, which is what we want, right? Number 4, I really like this one. So on the front end, when you start things, dictate whether it's going to be an experiment or a commitment. Experiments are things that we're okay with not finishing or following through, for example. That might be trying out scrapbooking or trying out pickleball. I don't know until I try if I'm going to like these activities or hobbies and if I want to pursue them long term or make them a reality in my day-to-day living. And it's okay to drop those off if they're not filling up my love tank or not what I expected them to be. But commitments are something that we want to, when we commit on the front end, we're going to say, yes, I'm committing to this. I'm committing to this being important. I'm committing to me following through and doing things because I'm a person of my word. And so commitments from the get-go, it's really important to try to work through and finish those and really not let anything stand in your way between you doing and accomplishing and finishing what you commit to. So it's really important on the front end to decide, hey, if I'm going to commit to this, I got to go with it and I got to stick with it and I got to be dedicated. Or I'm not sure, let's try this out a little bit first. I'm going to dictate it as an experiment and then see what happens and be okay with the results. And number 5 of what we're going to cover today is plan for hiccups, plan for speed bumps. In highly effective and efficient people, they plan for setbacks. They plan for things to get in the way and not go as efficiently or in the time frame they expect. They anticipate and plan for those so that they don't let those things cause them to shut down or get disheartened and not follow through. Similarly, we need to realize that everything always takes longer than we think it will, especially for us ADHDers who have a lot of issues oftentimes with time blindness. So things often take longer and oftentimes we're going to hit a speed bump or a hiccup. So planning ahead for those. What are we going to do? Are we going to give ourselves 25% more time to do this? What am I going to do? How am I going to regroup so I can continue on and go full steam ahead to finish what I set out to do? So these are 5 tried and true techniques that work to finish what I started. Which one of those did you like best, or are you going to start incorporating into your day-to-day living now? At the end of the day, not following through on something can have little costs to short-term plan or goal, but ultimately could have big costs to long-term goals and long-term plans and who we want to become.